Imagine stepping off the plane expecting humidity, beaches, and maybe some satay, but instead you walk straight into a future you didn't know existed. That's the exact moment Europeans visiting Malaysia in 2025 feel something they rarely feel back home: genuine shock. Not the bad kind. The good kind. The kind that makes you stop, blink twice, and whisper, "Wait, this is Malaysia." Europeans arrive expecting a developing country. They think they're coming for affordability, beaches, and maybe a cultural adventure. But Malaysia doesn't give them what they expect. Malaysia gives them more. The first shock usually hits right in KLIA. Everything is smooth, clean, efficient. Bags arrive faster than some European airports. Immigration lines move quickly. And people greet you with something Europe is losing slowly: warm human smiles. Mini-hook: Europeans don't expect kindness to be this normal. And that alone sets the mood for the entire trip. Then they step outside. Boom. The skyline hits them. They see a city where futuristic skyscrapers stand next to sacred mosques, where modern trains glide past old shophouses, and where the Petronas Towers still manage to take your breath away, even if you've seen photos 1,000 times. Europeans whisper to themselves, "This should be Dubai-level expensive." Surprise twist, it's not. High-quality city, reasonable costs. Question time: if you had to choose one KL moment that stunned you the most, what would it be? Within minutes, Europeans notice something else: Malaysia's diversity doesn't just coexist, it harmonizes. A mosque, a temple, and a church can literally be neighbors. People speak Malay, Mandarin, Tamil, and English without showing off. They blend cultures the way Europe blends architecture, beautifully and naturally. And the shock here is emotional. Europeans come from a region where multicultural harmony is still a dream, sometimes even a challenge. But in Malaysia, you see Malay families eating at Chinese restaurants. Indians celebrating Hari Raya with their Malay neighbors. And Europeans feel something they don't feel often: unity that feels real. Then the food hits hard. Europeans are not ready for how good Malaysian food is. They're used to mild spices, light flavors, and clean presentation. But suddenly, they're handed roti canai that melts in the mouth, nasi lemak with sambal that makes them cry but also smile, char kway teow that tastes like it was cooked with a lifetime of experience. And they always say the same thing: why is this not famous worldwide? Twist: some of the best food in Malaysia comes from roadside stalls, not fancy restaurants. It shocks Europeans because in Europe, street food is cute. In Malaysia, street food is legendary. A mini breakout question: what's the one Malaysian dish you think every European should be forced to try on their first day? Moving forward, shock number 4 appears when they realize how safe they feel. Europeans often imagine Southeast Asia as chaotic, but Malaysian cities, especially KL, Putrajaya, and Kuching, feel calm, structured, and surprisingly secure. Many European travelers admit they feel safer walking alone at night in Malaysia than in some European capitals. And Malaysians might not notice this daily, but Europeans see it instantly. It makes them rethink everything they assumed about this country. Then comes the real twist. Malaysians genuinely help you. Without asking for tips. Without trying to sell you anything. Without hidden motives. Europeans are stunned when someone walks them to the correct train platform, or when a restaurant owner explains local dishes with pride, or when a stranger says, "Don't worry, I'll show you," and actually means it. They're shocked because hospitality in Malaysia isn't performance, it's culture. 2 or 3 minutes in, Europeans begin to understand something powerful: Malaysia values balance. Not too flashy, not too slow. Not too expensive, not too cheap. Not too modern, not too traditional. It sits right in the sweet spot, and that balance feels peaceful in a world that's getting louder, faster, and more divided. Breakout question: do you think Malaysia gets enough credit globally? Or is the world still sleeping on it? And then nature hits them. Europeans expect beaches. Some expect jungles. But they don't expect that Malaysia has ancient rainforests older than the Amazon, islands that feel untouched, and wildlife that looks like it belongs in a BBC documentary. They go to Langkawi and get shocked by the cable car views. Sabah blows their minds with mountains and wildlife. Sarawak surprises them with culture, tribes, caves, and rainforests that feel like stepping into another universe. They visit Penang and suddenly feel like they're walking through history, art, and food heaven all mixed in one. And this is where Europeans feel something Malaysians should feel proud of. Malaysia protects a lot of its beauty. It doesn't destroy everything in the name of profit. Many parts of Malaysia feel authentic, alive, and untouched in a way Europe lost long ago. But the biggest shock is emotional. Europeans expect to feel like tourists. But Malaysia makes them feel like guests. Some even feel like temporary locals. They are invited into conversations, homes, celebrations, and stories. Europeans say Malaysians have this rare ability to make strangers feel like they belong. Even if they don't understand the culture fully. Even if they mispronounce half the food names. Even if they look confused at the bus station. Malaysians laugh, guide, and include you. That, more than anything, stays with Europeans long after they leave. And in 2025, something else surprised them: the speed at which Malaysia is moving ahead. New train lines, digital payments everywhere, modern malls, world-class infrastructure, and yet the soul of the country remains warm, humble, traditional. Europeans often say, Malaysia feels like the future but with a heart. That's rare. Final twist: Europeans come thinking they'll enjoy Malaysia. They leave wanting to return. And many do. Not because it's cheap or sunny, but because they feel something they don't always feel back home: comfort, respect, and humanity. And that is the kind of shock that changes people. And if you're watching this from Europe or anywhere else, tell me honestly, what's the one thing you think would shock you the most? And if you're Malaysian, what is the one thing about your country that you're most proud of? I promise the comments section will be full of beautiful stories.